Parfums Vintage X Batch, take 2. Hey, what's going on everybody? My name is Joshua as always, and this is everyone's channel, Scentsense. To all you loyal sensations out there, I thank you so much. And all you new people who are thinking about joining the Scentsense family, ease up bros and sisses. This isn't Tilted Towers, bro. There isn't 1,000 people clamoring. It's okay. Welcome in. Today we'll be talking about a brand new fragrance from the house of Parfums Vintage. This is a newer version of a previous fragrance. This is X Batch Intense. I'm sure as many of you know, Parfums Vintage is very famous for some of their great fragrances that come from the Pineapple Vintage line, such as Pineapple Vintage Intense, which is their best seller. And they have this vibe or a interpretation of Creed's AVENTUS. Now there is a long line of fragrances that come from the Pineapple Vintage line, such as Intense, Noir, Beyond Noir, and many others. And the purpose of this is to try to capture each individual batch of Creed AVENTUS as it's come out through the years. Now there are some detractors out there that will tell you that you can't do that because that's creating a clone of a batch, but a batch is a clone of the original fragrance. At the end of the day, what Parfums Vintage is trying to do is get you to smell what that batch smelled like. So who cares, really, guys? They do smell distinctly different. There are some differences in between each one. And if you don't like them and you think that they're all redundant, then just buy Pineapple Vintage Intense because it's amazing and move on. Or if you're like other people who have a nose that decides that it's older than the age of 1 and you want to try to find out and learn more about what different nuances there are with these fragrances, go ahead and get yourself a sample set and check it out. So enough rambling. If you take the Pineapple Vintage DNA and you were to take the most popular designer fragrance in the world right now, which is SAUVAGE, and you smash them together, that's what you would get from X Batch. My only problem with the original X Batch, and you can check my original video to see, is that it smelled like you had taken SAUVAGE and taken an eyedropper and just barely put any kind of Pineapple Vintage or any pineapple fragrance in the fragrance, and it just felt like a SAUVAGE clone and less of a collab of two fragrances. As many of you know, I'm not the hugest fan of SAUVAGE, so for me it felt like I was getting a cheapened product of what it could have been. But as with anything in life, we learn and we find out that when it comes to fragrance notes, many of them are volatile. And pineapple notes are very fresh and bright, but it's also really hard to compete with what SAUVAGE is, which is why SAUVAGE is so popular and lasts so long. But all of that has been fixed with this bad boy, which I am in love with. Pineapple Vintage X Batch Intense. So everything that some of you may have complained about, and I know I did, Damien listened and he took care of it right here. What he did was he added a bunch more of that pineapple and made sure to keep it at the forefront of the fragrance. You're still gonna smell the SAUVAGE and Broxton craze of smell, but the pineapple is definitely present, giving it more of a Pineapple Vintage presence and less of a SAUVAGE presence. This one to my nose smells like they've added a little more vanilla to it, so it's got a little more to it than just a pineapple blast. It's got a little more of the other notes and nuances that you get from Pineapple Vintage and from Creed AVENTUS. This leans further away from SAUVAGE and what it offers and more towards what Pineapple Vintage and AVENTUS does, and it gives it more of a well-rounded and more grown-up, if you will, smell. What this does is definitely bring the best of both worlds together. Not many fragrances can really truly be worn at any time, any season, on any occasion, but I definitely think this one could be worn dressed down, dressed up, and it could be worn pretty much at any time of the day, and honestly, any season. I think it will shine way better than other seasons in the season of summer, but at the end of the day, it'll work pretty much anytime you wear it. As far as projection goes, this one definitely lasted for a long time and it was very shocked. I wore it twice and it gave me about 4 to maybe even 5 hours of projection. Now I do spray 5 to 6 sprays minimum, which is a lot for most people, but it's kind of how I like to spray. I leave every morning at the crack of dawn, right around 6 o'clock. So for me, I've got to last from that time until I knock off for work, which is at 5 o'clock. And I don't store fragrances in my truck because I don't want them to get ruined. So for me, if a fragrance lasts the entire day, that one has really performed. And this one made it to the end of the day. Now, I wasn't exactly smelling like a lady killer at the end of the day. I definitely had to get close to it and had to be wafts. But if somebody was getting close to me, someone such as my wife or my kids, they could definitely smell it on me. So for that, Damien, kudos. When it comes to availability, currently you can only get it in a 50 milliliter bottle, but I've been pushing this 50 milliliter bottle craze upon people from myself. Listen, if you collect fragrances, you're not going to use an entire bottle of anything. Don't tell yourself you're getting robbed because a 50 milliliter bottle is less cost per ounce productive as a 100 milliliter. Although that may be true, you're never going to use the entire 100 milliliter bottle. So the money you're saving by buying better price per ounce, you're not really saving because you're gonna keep that juice forever because you're never gonna use it all. Now, if you're looking for a signature scent and you're a guy who has maybe 5 to 6 fragrances, wait for the 100 milliliter bottle. I think it comes out later in the month, if not early March. These fragrances are definitely going to sell out fast. So if you can get your hands on one while you can, go check them out at parfumsvintage.com. And I'm telling you, X-Batch Intense really works. So in closing, if you're looking for something, especially since spring and summer are right around the corner, that will be fresh and inviting, but definitely can be worn at any occasion and won't give you the letdown of smelling like straight SAUVAGE with a dash of pineapple, go ahead and check out X-Batch Intense. Now, before I end this video, I just want to make this perfectly clear because at the end of the day, people are going to make some stupid comment in the comment section below if I don't say it. These bottles were sent to me for free. This is my opinion. It is not watered down. It just so happens that this one really works. Nope, didn't get paid for it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you gained something from it. I hope you kind of got enticed to look more into the house of Parfums Vintage because I really like them and I think it's worth your time. Trust me, I'm not gonna tell you to go try out something if I don't think you'd like it. So go ahead, check them out, guys. That about does it for me. Go ahead and click that notification bell because for some reason, YouTube is falling down on the job and not showing everybody when our videos come out. They're not going in their feed. So go ahead and click the notification bell. That way you'll see my videos and we can keep them getting watched. I love you people. As always, I'll smell you later. Peace!